Hi everyone, I'm Ursula Gontier, project lead for the Prospective Author Journey project here at Cochrane. This project helps authors to propose new and updated reviews and get started working with us. One of the questions that we're often asked is what makes a great author team? And that's what we'll be talking about today. I'm joined by Lindsay Robertson and Leslie Choi, who are Cochrane's Evidence Synthesis Development Editors. Leslie and Lindsay both work closely with author teams addressing high priority questions and have seen at first hand what makes a successful author team. Before we start, it's important to note that some authors may be working with Cochrane groups and others work independently, but we hope that this general guidance will be helpful to everyone who's thinking about forming a team to propose a new review.
So, in terms of author teams, there are two essential members that you need. First of all, you would like someone with clinical expertise in the topic of the review, as their knowledge will provide an important insight into the intervention, the nature of the condition being treated or prevented. They would be able to interpret the outcomes and also put those findings into context in terms of decision making. Secondly, you would want someone with expertise in drafting search strategies and running search strategies, ideally someone who also has access to medical databases, and also someone who's able to respond to search peer review comments. The most likely person qualified to do this would be an information specialist, but we understand that not all author teams have access to this, so please contact Cochrane Support as they can provide help with searches centrally if needed.
So firstly, a methodologist, so someone who's experienced with critically appraising studies, assessing certainty of evidence with grade and general systematic review development knowledge. The reason this might be particularly important is if you expect your review to be quite complex, so involving study designs that are not randomized controlled trials, for example. Secondly, a statistician is also important for the same reasons I just mentioned above. So if you have particularly difficult data to grasp, or you're expecting a lot of non-randomized study designs that report data in a difficult way to understand for you to extract and use for synthesis in a systematic review, a statistician might be particularly helpful here to call upon. And then thirdly, just someone who's experienced in conducting Cochrane systematic reviews would be extremely helpful. So someone who can be a point of contact and to be a mentor for the whole review team throughout the review development phase. Finally, people that are either consumers or stakeholders in the particular subject area that you're conducting the review in. And we normally refer to this as co-production. So value is greatly added to a Cochrane review if you have patients, for example, who can inform on what sort of outcomes that they're interested in and that they value. Yep, so the handbook recommends a minimum of 2 people. And the reason for this is because there's different stages of a systematic review where authors are expected to independently conduct parts of it alone and then come together and see if the results are in agreement. So these stages are normally the assessing the quality of the study, so risk of bias, screening studies, and also data extraction of the studies. And then later on, assessing the certainty of the evidence with grade, expected to have the whole author team to come together for that. Although the handbook recommends a minimum of 2 people, we really recommend at least 3. This is because sometimes there might be disagreements with the 2 lead authors that are during those different stages that I mentioned earlier. And a third person can then be an arbitrator and come in and resolve any conflicts.
Yeah, so in terms of the lead author or contact person's responsibility, they must be available throughout the entire process, from drafting the proposal through to publication and beyond. And that's really to keep the review on track at all stages and to respond to editorial queries and peer review comments through the various iterations of the review. In terms of time commitments, there are two particular stages of the review process where all co-authors really need to be available to help. The first is in producing and finalising the summary of findings tables, which present the certainty of evidence in the review. And the second stage would be in checking the various drafts of the review and the analysis sections. It's important to point out that a Cochrane review is an ongoing commitment, so publication of the review doesn't necessarily signal the end. The Cochrane reviews are expected to be up to date, so if new evidence becomes available, you may want to revisit the findings of your review and publish an update.
Thanks very much, Lindsay and Leslie, for those great pointers. And don't forget, if you have any questions about starting work on your Cochrane review, you can always contact Cochrane support@cochrane.org. Thank you.